to the Kennedy Center and our free Millennium Stage performance series brought to you by Target, presented tonight here in the lovely Theater Lab. We are here at 6 o'clock each night of the week, 365 days a year, to bring you the best in music, dance, theater, and more. If you're unable to join us in person, please visit us online at kennedy-center.org, where we broadcast each night's performance live, as well as make past performances available in our video broadcast archives. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Youth Programs Coordinator for Split This Rock, Jonathan B. Tucker.
Hey, y'all. When I say spoken, y'all say word. Spoken. Word. Spoken. Word. When I say to be, y'all say heard. To be. Word. To be. Word. To be. Word. All right, this side's doing amazing. Great job, y'all. Great job, this side of the audience. I'm going to need a little more love from y'all. But not just me. All the poets that are going to grace the stage tonight need your love. I wanted to start off that way to let you know that this is not a performance with a fourth wall up. We do spoken word poetry. We do performance poetry. And we rely on the audience to interact with us. So please give as much energy, as much love as you can to all the performers who touch this stage tonight. If you hear a line that you like, there are many different acceptable forms of showing your love. One that we do in the poetry community is snapping our fingers. Can I get everyone to snap their fingers for me? That is a great noise. It almost sounds like it's raining outside when everybody does it. Our poems make it rain sometimes. We have that power of poetry. I'm the Youth Programs Coordinator for an organization called Split This Rock. Split This Rock is all about the intersection of art and activism. We lie right at the center of where poetry and social change meet. And what you're going to see tonight is our youth program called the DC Youth Slam Team. We're getting ready to head to Brave New Voices, the International Youth Poetry Slam Festival next week in Chicago, Illinois, which is the birthplace of slam poetry. Slam poetry is a competitive form of performance poetry that was invented in the 1980s. Since then, it's grown in popularity and has spread all across the world, and we're glad in DC that we're part of that tradition. We're part of that long history of spoken word poetry, which goes back to the ancient times, made modern again through hip-hop and the punk scene coming together with the slam poetry scene and providing people a space where the audience gets to decide what is good poetry. We pick 5 random judges from the audience, and they give a score between 0 and 10 for every poem that goes up. And these young people that are going to grace the stage tonight, they've made it through many rounds of poetry slams to make it onto the DC Youth Slam Team, representing our city at this International Poetry Slam Festival. So before we go, we're very happy to be at the Kennedy Center for a big send-off today here in the Theater Lab, Millennium Stage. We're very thankful to the Kennedy Center, to the DC Commission on Arts and Humanities, to Split This Rock, our parent organization, and to everyone who comes out and supports the DC Youth Slam Team all the time. We see many of our family in the audience today. It's so great to be surrounded by such a loving community. So, without further ado, please feel free to snap during the show. If you hear something you like, feel free to yell out, "Yeah, nice, I like that." You can get as specific as you want if you want to do it that way. You can do an extended yes if you want. My favorite noise, it sounds a little bit like, And I'll be sitting next to someone at a poetry slam, and I hear them go, and I'm like, I can tell they really felt what was going on there. And so if you hear a line that tastes really good and in your mouth, you just want to go, please do that. Our poets are going to be interacting with you, and the more that we can get from you, the more that we're going to be able to give back. We have 12 poets, all teenagers, members of the DC Youth Poetry Slam Team. They come from DC, Maryland, and Virginia, all across the DMV area, representing our district, our area, at regional and national competitions, even international festivals as well. We just got back from a trip to South Africa through a Sister Cities International Exchange Program. It was an amazing program, and so some of the poems that you'll hear tonight will relate to that. You're going to hear poems about all sorts of different issues. Split This Rock, like I said, is about social justice, about poems of provocation and poems of witness. So we're bearing witness to some of the injustices in our lives, some of the problems that we see around in our communities, and we're trying to provoke you. We're trying to provoke our audience for the change that we feel is necessary to make it forward in this world that we're living in. So, y'all got your cell phones off, y'all tuned in, y'all gonna respect the mic, give our poets lots and lots of love as though they are your cousin, they are your little sister, your little brother coming up on stage. Please clap wildly for everyone, and have fun, y'all. This is gonna be a great time. So without further ado, this program is called Fly Language, and I give to y'all the DC Youth Slam Team.
Ever since the origin of civilization, mankind has survived off of verbal relations. As poets, we flow with a different type of communication. So please listen to this diction and this language, because there's a lot of power within these phrases. So Jordana, can you please take it back to the basics?
I know how scared you are of yourself. That wildness throbbing from your veins to my veins, I am your source. Don't you know your umbilical cord is buried here beneath the flowers of Cape Town, where bodies transcend identity, become part of a people in land where lone hands grow, orchids reaching for God, where bodies return too soon to me. What is this hate of yourself? Child, do not attack your shadow. Its darkness defines the human in you. You cannot erase your reflection without erasing yourself. Sometimes reason obscures the animal in you, the animal that runs across rising tide of amber sun. We drink this sun in our veins, and in us its light becomes dark light as smoke cupped by the wind. We run, we dance, we sing, we beat our feet, printing our story in time. Our souls reverberating echoes in the cave where we sleep together, our skins licking each other, tongues on cracked lips, dust rising in halos above us. We erode with the soil, we soak our hands in dirt, becoming the roots to the trees that grow, becoming the wood to the planks that sail, becoming the sound of a stick on a drum, roll of thunder, crack of lightning. We are music. And music is earth, and earth is us, and us is slashed, and us is mined, and us is burned, our thighs scarred and bleeding down mountains, slipping children in its sea. Don't you see, we are tears pouring to cleanse it. We are rain on parched earth, and I am your lover, always inside your changing shape, and I am your child at the mercy of your care, and I am your mother, my womb your first home, and we are mother to each other, but I alone am your life and your death. Don't you know you are buried here, dear son? You cannot cut flowers that have grown and passed. Dear daughter, I know how frightened you must be, and I know you hurt who you love the most.
Kosi Dunn, where are you? Where are you? You ready? All right, Kosi Dunn, everybody.
TCU Slam, Shaka Zoo, 3 stars, 2 bars.
The ancient Greeks claimed to have mastered geometry, drawing shapes in the dirt. Euclid was famous for such examples, representing trigonometric applications with dust and index finger. This is right about the time a few men began growing a knack for drawing lines. Interesting thing, actually, it was adopted from Hindu mathematicians, the symbol 0, a circle, literally embodying the unknown by bordering it. This is right about the time a few white men began growing a knack for drawing lines, making maps, and drawing borders for places they've seldom even seen before. 0 was originally employed as a placeholder to separate the space between symbols. That's what space does, it separates. It holds place to facilitate growth. So how does one place hold in space you hold no place in? That's like assuming the evidence of absence via the absence of evidence. That's like trying to convey an absolute value and equality without also solving for its additive inverse. That's like walking into someone's house with a Bible and a gun and then charging them for rearranging the furniture and tearing up the carpet. I mean, who said nothing was nothing anyway? Who said empty space wasn't enough stuff to be considered something? These days, people just circle a few corners and figure the whole world round. A whole colony theirs, a whole circle, nothing. Yo, nothing matters. In fact, zero is the origin to every axis, regardless of how many dimensions. To one too many, Africa's just an abacus. Just a math problem in need of solution. And they say we're bad at math, but you can't possibly predict what you've never accounted for. These days must be numbers, times, change. We are approaching infinity and are more than a table of content, content to conceive ourselves as nothing, not shapes in the dirt.
Yes, there's power in this language. There's power in our phrases. Lauren, Aisha, what you got to tell them?
Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade, water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Insane. They handcuffed us. We were chained in chains. They destroyed who we were, and they changed our names so it once was unique are now James and James. They took our titles as kings and queens, and we got demoted to slaves. It seems like we treat each other the way they treated us, with hate and disgust, when they figured we weren't human enough. Packed us on boats, so many the boat should have sank, and now we make fun of that thing called planking. See, it's not so fun if you sat down and just took 1 second to think about how Africans got here. See, it wasn't voluntary. We were forced to come. We were forced to ride 3 boat forwards in one, no place to move, no air to breathe. Suicide and death were the only way to leave. We rode in that boat covered in urine and feces. We couldn't move. We were not clean. All the while, the white men just laughed, and we had to suffer. Packed on that boat like a million grains of brown sugar. Packed on that boat on the way to where only the white men know. Packed on that boat with insects crawling and disease spreading. We were on that boat, but not alone. Somehow, misery found a new home. How could we, as kings and queens, be sold to other people? It seems as though we are not people, but items used for trade, better known as slaves. So why would we treat each other the way they treated us, with hate and disgust, when they figured we weren't human enough? We fight, we steal, we rob, we kill, we shame, we tease. Why can't we just please pay attention to just practice uplifting our beautiful people? Because we are kings and queens, and I love us. It seems as though we need to change and break free from the chains that drove us insane.
God's gonna trouble the water.
So we can see the power of language. We can see what language can do. Language communicates, but what happens when that language does not only communicate, but that language defines, that language solidifies, and that language creates something new? It creates an image. Where does that come from? What can we do with that energy? Hannah, what can we do with that energy?
She usually has white skin, dark hair,
freckles. And people say she often looks like me. All ignorance and JCC workout clothes, all couture Hanukkah presents and Israel trips. This is the story of the Jewish American princess. This is the story of privilege that forgot what poverty tastes like, what discrimination and genocide feels like, what glass breaking, burning books turning to ash, and the screams of your great-grandparents sound like. Did you forget that tiara was built off the labor of your ancestors, young princess? Those Shabbat candles your family lights every Friday night are the reflection of your history rewound and played back for you, but you're still too caught up on the fact that you chipped your nail while lighting the match. Your over need to accessorize all Abercrombie jeans and Tiffany bracelets will be the epitome of your downfall, naive girl. Remember where you came from. Northern Poland with nothing but a few dollars in their pockets and a prayer for the only being they had left to believe in. My family could have kissed death if they had moved their hands away from their mouths and let the stench of the darkness breathe into them, but they didn't. When you walk through Holocaust museums, people stop you. Tell you they saw pictures of girls who looked just like you. How can you hold your nose up in the air like that when your family bowed their face into the dirt for you? So no, I will not BBM you telling you about the new pair of Uggs my daddy just bought me. I will not Snapchat you pictures of my sleepaway camp, more hotel suite than tent, and all of the gorgeous Jewish boys I've kissed there. I will not hum Adam Sandler's Hanukkah song to you over and over again, and I will not spend all my money on iced cafes at Aroma so I can pretend I'm back on Birthright again, ignoring the politics of Israel with the only excuse that at least the falafel tastes good. When there are innocent civilians dying on the street every day, and no, I'm not talking about Jewish settlers, there's more to Israel than hummus and Michal Negrin jewelry. There's an entire nation hiding in the shadows of that country your family visits so often. It's Palestine, but you're too scared to speak its name aloud. Do not mistake me for the threaded tale of the Jewish American princess. I may look like her, white skin, dark hair, freckles, but I am not. And any Jewish girl who claims herself as one better step down off her high horse, remove the crown her family built off their own sweat and blood, and remember where she comes from.
Sometimes poets like to read off pieces of paper. Yeah, it's a thing. We multidimensional. Yeah, multifaceted.
There's nothing as strong as the bond between a child and their mother.
Not even the chains that wrap around her wrists can separate us.
Africa is her slave name.
Her identity was changed by bad fruits.
Emerging from her roots.
They pollute her breath.
Mining holes into her chest.
Holding diamonds,
zinc,
coal,
and gold.
These fruits have stemmed off money trees, trying to make me forget the one woman who truly cares the most about me.
I want to know who my mother is. She is life. I belong to her.
She is earth.
My mother has a funny way of showing me that I am hers.
Through blood-red lifelines, I intertwine with her essence. My heart pumps to the rhythm of her solar plexus.
There is a connection between this land and my body. She made this body with this connection she taught me.
She gave me my identity. My mother's love is unconditional.
No matter what I do, she manages to chip away my darkened struggles. She gave me light.
Her smile is black.
Her gleaming sunlight brings everlasting life.
An eternal sunshine that kisses my temple.
My mother's affection is timeless, never stops shining, never stops giving, and yet her children never stop taking.
Her offspring often spring into spring season, forgetting what winter tastes like.
leaving her with nothing but the bitter cold of neglect.
Disrespect.
But she has no regret as her children keep
giving her nothing but back talk.
She talks back with cries of pain from all the minerals they have drilled. How can we let this happen to our mother?
How can we let this happen to our mother? Her children have sacrificed their own mother.
Africa.
The one who brought them into this world.
They have contaminated this divine vessel.
This earth.
This woman. There is nothing as strong as the bond between a child and their mother. So when will you stand up and save her?
Lauren. Give him some work. Lauren May, everybody.
"16 years of scars etched onto my skin, and I still stand strong. Even after hacking away at my soul, shaving layers off of my skin, cutting and carving God's good intentions. See, self-destruction is a funny thing. Destruction is a funny thing. Accidental destruction, purposeful destruction, powerful destruction. See, nothing has to be wrong with something for someone to want to destroy it. See, after all, shaving a few layers only allowed my true beauty to show. After all, I'm still standing strong, not in ruin, but in strength and pride. I'm proud of what I've done to myself. And if you beg to differ, maybe you're too blind and naive to see true beauty. See, I didn't need a defect to be a reject, and now I don't need to be whole to be holy. I was built with content and shredded myself down with resilience, and the pieces of me were not lost. I still hold them near and dear to me. I still stand strong. We still stand strong because the only real mistakes we make are the ones from which we don't learn. 4,600 million years of mistakes etched into our earth, but we are made from a substance too natural to deteriorate. We still stand strong.
Next up, we got Amina.
All right, so I need the audience's help with this one, okay? So whenever I say the word I, you guys are gonna respond with we, okay? Ready? I. We. I. We. I. We. I. We. Were formed from the clay of this earth, incubated and born through the flower petals of human anatomy into a world that was too cold for me. So mommy and daddy bought me a jacket they said it would keep me warm. But mommy and daddy didn't know that I need more than just down feathers wrapped in polyester to keep this blood going, while learning is a lifelong process. I teetered through toddler days of Hot Wheels, skidding across wooden floors and Barbies that never bent at the knee in a time before I wanted to be pretty and fast like them. Well, the hands on my clock must turn pretty fast because here I stand 17 years later, purging the contents of a unified soul shared by all of humanity. Its presence has seeped into my bones, replaced my marrow, encompassed every fiber of my being. It speaks to me and tells me that I have a long road ahead of us on this planet on which human is above human, is above human, is above human in rank, as if one's humanity is worth more than the other. Where I must level the playing field in this world where the amount of money in your pocket dictates your value. But as long as there's a heart in this chest and a fire in these eyes, I are worth our weight in gold in this society where clay bodies are melted and reformed, melted and remolded, melted and repainted to fit an image that was never given consent to. I will paint our own picture of beauty. It isn't going to be easy. Life never is. It's a long, winding road decorated by forks and obstacles at the most unpredictable intervals, keeping us on our toes like we dance ballet. It's a monumentous journey for just one person to complete on their own, but I are not alone. With 7 billion people on this earth, how could we ever be 7 billion people who were formed from the clay of this earth, incubated and born through the flower petals of human anatomy, just like us, into this cold world where there are not enough jackets to keep our blood from freezing solid in our veins. Mommy and Daddy knew that. And they knew that learning is a lifelong process, so they let me feel the frigid gazes, the cold shoulders, and the chill of loneliness all my life long, so that I would learn to keep each other warm. So that whenever I feel alone in a crowd, we know that the soul of humanity is there to keep us company, so that I would be able to catch whatever life throws at us and toss it right back, so those pretty Barbies and those fast Hot Wheels can dust on store shelves, for they can never achieve what I can, and they'll never know what I know, and they'll never be who I are, for I, our loving I, our courageous I, our persistent I, our adventurous and I are strong.
Feels groovy though. Yeah. So you see what we're doing with language. Not only can we create ideas and perception, and language also solidifies identity. It can also bring forth what identity is. But what happens when that identity is different than somebody else's identity, and that's like a little rift? What happens when somebody else doesn't like who you are or what you represent? Are you just gonna lose who you are? Or are you gonna stay strong? ELPJ, what would you do?
When I say EL, y'all say PJ, EL, EL. When I say EL, y'all say PJ, EL, EL. When I say EL, y'all say PJ, EL, EL. When I say EL, y'all say PJ, EL, EL. EL. Peace, y'all. What's happening? Y'all having a good time out there? Word. So, in addition to being a poet on the DC Youth Slam team, 3 stars, I'm also an MC, and I'll be competing in B&V at the MC Olympics. This song right here that I'm about to do for y'all is a summer anthem for the whole DC, Maryland, Virginia area, called DMV Right on Time. How many people in here from DC? Make some noise. All right, is Maryland in the house? What about VA? Word. All right, cool. All right, hit it, JT. Turn up a little bit. You gotta wait for it. Yeah. DMV, stand up. Check. Yeah. I woke up this morning with this beat on my mind, thinking to myself, I gotta pen these rhymes for the DMV, for everybody to see that DC, Maryland, Virginia is the place to be. I'm from that C station, boy, you probably never heard of it. And if you haven't listened to my lyrics, so you learned a bit, we turning it out without a doubt, while others burn to win. Ain't no bout, ain't no tournament. When it be, I turn this bit. First to rip is ELP, that be me, God MC. I'm surprised to these people jumping on that IG function in the street. We be coolin' cousin at the pool is something in the summer. Pull up stuntin' with the homies, school ain't nothing. Central and we rollin' thick. My man's is whippin', driving stick. Headed to the party, pulling up Molly. Serious, sorry, we don't do the things y'all be doing. Cause my name getting pertinent and I'm earning it. Got that ELPJ is dope across my sternum, kid. I see yo young and working it. Ask my peers what the verdict is. Went over for the services and adjourned the chick. Swerve your chick, please don't kill my vibe. We is getting live as fireworks to blow at Allen Pond on the 4th of July. Know why? I'm job turned. Wheeling in the 4-run with your hun and my crew. When we fin to eat through DC right on time. Tell them they the truth though. MD right on time. We don't bang with you though. When VA get into the guap, the grind don't stop. Came a long way from ciphers at the spot, but DC right on time. The industry don't know. MD right on time. We kicking in they dough. This for my folks ready for the summer. Beltway burning rubber steady undercover. Hey Mo hit me, said he got the veggies by the number. So we hit the A11, then we hit the parking. Is you sparking? You said nah, then keep it walking. I can't fade this. What's the move? As of the latest, nothing new. Wherever betas, let's come through. Hold up, wait, is that them fools? Oh, see, they blowing me though. Thinking they players bagging broads to the boulevard with the collar pop polos on. Looking smack alike. I seen them on Marble Pike the other day in the same J's, waiting for the J12 to the train. Speaking of which, yo son, you got the whip, I got a dip and take a trip to the district real quick. We up at Gallery Place, and it's the third Saturday. You know what that means. Open mic and bus boys on 5th and K. But before I grace the mic, I gotta get my fade tight. Eagles Barbershop, crossing with you with 15th and J. Alright, I'm job turned. Wheeling in the 4-run with your one and my crew. When we fin to eat through DC right on time. Tell them they the truth though. MD. We don't bang with you though. NBA getting to the guap. The grind don't stop. Came a long way from ciphers at the spot, but DC right on time. The industry don't know. MD right on time. We kicking in they dough. Now everybody, put your hands up. Understood? Now everybody stand up. Alright, good. When I say DMV, y'all say right on time. DMV. DMV. Y'all know that I rep the gods, aka I'm Detective Squad, Shango Rastafari, Jesus, baby, Buddha, and Allah. Flow more than the Potomac and Anacostia. Rivers combined, get with my mind, get hip to my rhymes. This is fact. Sometimes I'm uptown on the map or on the south side, east of the river. Some of y'all deem that outside your realm of going. Call it a realm of knowing when that's the homeland to the go-go. You loving mumbo sauce, you holding. Fade caps, North Face jackets and phones, man. If it ain't Jordan, Telly Hansen, but yo, man. I walk down U Street, man, it ain't the same, but it been chilly bowl to eat. I still feel the flame. My name gon' be throughout the city like Cool Disco Dan. The fans up in the stands gon' know who I am. This is dedicated to the Ward 7, Ward 8 kids. Real DC natives displaced by gentrification. Back in the days when Marion Barry was married, put in place some black power policies to combat poverty. And we can do it again if y'all give it a chance. My 10 say made in China, but they DMV stamps. You heard? I'm job turned. Wheeling in a 4-run with your hun and my crew. We fin to eat through DC right on time. Tell them they the truth though. MD. We don't bang with you though. When VA get into the guap, the grind don't stop. Came a long way from ciphers at the spot, but DC right on time. The industry don't know. MD right on time. We kicking in they dough. Now everybody, put your hands up. Understood? Now everybody stand up. Alright, good. When I say DMV, y'all say right on time. DMV. DMV. Alright, peace, y'all.
Yes, yes, right on time, CC. Drop some rhymes.
Gunshots ricochet off of empty barrels onto brown boys. Fallen soldiers whose bodies were painted by bullets labeled nigger killers. See, these niggas are the targets. Every day they walk this battlefield of streets and always forced to go on the front lines. See, my brother be more bulletproof than human. More warrior than teenagers. Suspicious stares and random searches be too routine for them. Every day, living becomes more of a struggle. Those handcuffs starting to look a lot like chains. They say it's the land of the free, but why are we being treated like modern day slaves? I know this isn't what they fought for. Cause I see more of my brothers on the street corner than I see at graduation. They're more likely to be on the news than on a dollar bill. Rather live in a trap house than aspire to be in the White House. They have made a product out of you. Manufactured false images in the media portraying you to be destined for dead or in jail. Corrupted your mind to be focused on easy money rather than education. You have to be more than that. Wake up and act like you belong here. Like your ancestors fought for you to be here. Skipping class ain't gonna get you no closer to walking across that stage and selling drugs. Don't lead to nowhere but the grave. It's up to you to open up a book and chase your future. Cause around here, devils disguise themselves in blue uniforms. Wear their weapons like crowns, ready to make a victim out of any brown boy who doesn't know his rights. They will try to break you, make a mockery out of you. But you have to be better than that. Cause the record of the streets will always be undefeated. And these niggas will always be the targets.
Next up, we have vocab. Vocab's teammate Malachi, aka Malpractice.
Eight months ago, I was asked what my earliest memory was. Yesterday, I realized that it was my mother's voice telling me that if I found a bird feather on the ground, it was my father's attempt at communication. And at my age, I didn't understand if it was because my last name was Bird or because the holiest birds flocked around the gates of heaven and a descending feather was just his invitation for me to join him. I never understood. But all the years and all the times that I put on my hawk eyes and looked for every bird feather I could find, I never heard my father's voice. And he never heard mine. But Daddy, just in case you can understand this, I'm sorry. You shouldn't have been taken from me. I know it wasn't your fault and I know it wasn't my fault, but I just feel like I could have done something more. I was only 2 years old, too little, too late to do anything to change the outcome, too young to understand that I need more pacifists than pacifiers, too small to realize that you had planted your roots with 2 different family trees, but too dumb to assume for 14 years that meant that you were just like those other deadbeat daddies. But thank you for the stereotypes that you did beat Daddy Manny. They told me I got my ability to question the world from your Y chromosome. So Daddy, have my ignorant assumptions tarnished your medal of honor? Daddy, did you let me keep my mother's last name because you knew I would need to fly to see you again? Daddy, is your attempt at communication the reason my mother loves goose down pillows so much and never lets me sleep without one? I would have answered these questions by myself, but I was only 2. You climbed the staircase to heaven before I could walk, so I couldn't follow you. But if I could have, I would have been right by your side. I apologize. I apologize that I wasn't as good at that hide and seek game that you taught me how to play. But everybody knows that when you play games with kids, you're not supposed to win. I guess I'm sorry that I'm inadequate, that I'm not what you stood for. Mansur Ibn Salahuddin, I'm sorry I'm not Muslim. I'm sorry I crave steak, even if it means your approval is at stake. I'm sorry I'm currently picturing you in a Christian afterlife. I'm sorry I'm currently straddling the line between agnostic and assimilation, but I'm just too open-minded to sacrifice my religious unbias for the confines of a Kufi. Daddy, I'm sorry. But Daddy, you still influence me in other ways. Like, you're the reason I love math so much, because there were too many unknown variables in your cold case equation, but the only person who knows all the answers was someone who mastered trigonometry before I hit grade school. Please excuse my metaphors, but I'm just trying to discover if they speak a different language in heaven. And if they do, I'm determined to make love to Rosetta Stone until I discover a way to communicate with my father that I'm sorry, lo siento, je suis désolé, es tout mir lie, English, Spanish, French, German, sign language, Anna Asif, Arabic for him. I just want a father to help me picture my future, but all I can picture is your picture in that obituary. I just want you to be here. I want you to be insecure with me. I want to be secure in society. I don't want your social security. I want to be in your bare arms when my asthmatic lungs have me coughing. But now I only want to bear arms against the bare arms that put you in that coffin. There's a Second Amendment to my apologies. I'm sorry I want so much. I just want a father. I just want you to know that in those 2 years, you were my warrior, my strong Trojan. Even if I was the result of a broken one, I just want to know how you feel. So, Daddy, if you can, please respond. But excuse me if I'm not waiting by the phone, because I'm running out of places to find bird feathers. But I refuse to stay grounded any longer. Like,
We are here to teach you a lesson on the dance floor. But this song is not a dance. I will tell you a story. Brothers and sisters, this story is about a big, big man and the small, small man that made him. Small man says, oh, big man, in all your greatness, what can I do for you? I beg you, give me a job now. Let
Next up, we have Vocab.
the same money back to you, big man, when I buy your beautiful products.
Also known as Thomas Hill.
My body was a mid-air somersault. Time stopped. Almost seemed to collapse in on itself. Earth became sky. Clouds became ground. The day that the bomb blew, my whole world was flipped on its head. Bang! The doctor says that the explosion pushed me over the edge. Post-traumatic stress stretches my nerves thin and irate. Bang! There's a war being waged in my mind. Sometimes feels like there's nothing up there but dirt and destruction, bullets clapping thunderous against my cranium, guns when the battle with the dead, when the war they sit in my cerebrum. 60-something soldiers who were forced to face fear at the nose of my gun. Bang! My memory is a minefield. Bang! My memory is a minefield. Bang! It was all for my country. I'm a man with a star-spangled, strangled mind, so, don't mind me walking out of the bar at 10:30 a.m. I'm a hero, bang! Turn to heroin, turn to liquor, turn to my wife and kids with nuclear knuckles in the palm of a backhand, bang! Help me. I can't seem to escape these goddamn memories. They lurk like the smell of steel and flesh introduced to fire, bang! I was fired from my desk job for being more weapon than worker. My fridge looks like an unattended obligation. My kids look like the American Dream night terror. It's hard to hold on to your sanity when all the sand you've seen is caked with blood that you made visible. Bang! The army will make machine of you. They send you to be all shotgun glory, then take the human right up out of you, make you more man of steel than man of strength. Bang! I'm sorry. My mind's rotting. Honorable discharge turned to discharge it to my tab in a matter of time. Bang! Time stopped. Bang! Time stopped. Bang! Time stopped. It almost seemed to collapse in on itself. The doctor says that I have post-traumatic stress disorder, so my brain is taking orders that no one is giving. I was called back in 2005. It's just that my mind never left its post.
All right. Coach C, you got something else to say? I think he wants to say something else. Will y'all let him?
A user's guide to finishing chemistry homework on the Metro without dropping your physics notebook, calculator, and borrowed copy of A Brief History of Time, despite simultaneously being a black boy on the Metro. The couple in front are bound to stare. Smile. You are an electron, not rocking with any negative vibe within the vicinity of this train card. Speaking of non-metals, did you know that melanin contains a rather gratuitous concentration of carbon? Inform them of this. Maybe next time they won't be so surprised to spot a black boy charged with possessing a worksheet on electric field theory, or perhaps you can smudge an ankh onto the Metro train windows with hair grease and leave in conditioner if you expect it might expedite the process, because modern science is 99.98% sure that the Egyptians invented the semiconductor despite the perceived impotence of their pigment. You seem tense. Almost as tense as that guy over there who thinks you probably might steal his wallet in approximately 7.8 seconds. Are you breathing? More importantly, are you still black? There are several empirical methods to verify this. For instance, you could open and, dare I say, begin to learn from the book, in which case, please note the magnitude of suppressed gas coming from the university kids to the right of you. If that experiment fails to yield tangible results, please resort to elementary scientific methodology, hypothesis. I bet if you told the lady next to you that you wanted to be a scientist when you grow up, she wouldn't believe you. I bet she still believes Thomas Edison invented the light bulb despite the slave fingerprints and stolen patents, daring to deny a dimwit brilliance. I bet you wouldn't even need Ohm's law to measure her shock. Or a stopwatch to calculate the velocity from which her eyes went from Alfred Nobel to NBA by the time they finished noticing you. But regardless, now that you've gathered conclusive evidence, broadcast to the general public. More importantly, to every black boy who swapped basketballs for ballistics because their 5th grade science teacher was convinced that kinematic equations were beyond their mental faculty. 1, acceleration is quite literally defined as a change in motion. 2, you are nothing but a change in motion. Despite popular belief, you are capable for tasks outside the realms of free throws and mixtapes. So forget what you may or may not know of photons and frequency, and remember, if light can shine in a black hole, who are you not to? To the poet on the metro with a crush on calculus, caution. Those say you can't do both. Will try and clench tight as you try and open every eye, failings to keep yours shut. They will call you dweeb, nerd, geek, a hopeless romantic, but you've got to be more than that. You are to just be patient, are just to love and breathe and smile and build the world you've been preaching about. So how about you finish your chemistry homework?
So, yes, the thing about language, it can create, it can define, and other people define other things than you, right? We all think differently. And so there will always be clashing ideologies and clashing perceptions, but what we got to take is what my brother Kosi just said. You got to be yourself. Finish your chemistry homework. Definitely. So now we're going to move into the final act of the night. Raina, what do you have to say?
Tia, Ava, Sandra, and some unknown auntie huddle over a bowl of flour. I have watched them perform the ceremony of slapping and patting and smoothing and shaping and kneading flour into tortillas. I've been invited to join them many times in this ceremony, this ritual, but someone must be sacrificed. Being the small and tender me who was giving them the impression that I don't eat enough anyways, I am schoolgirl shamed into the kitchen. My hands sweat at the sight of the flour. I'm not cut out to be a Latina. You see, this looks so much easier when I was over there by the couch. Can we just have a quinceañera instead? It's much easier to become a Latin woman that way. I attempt my first tortilla. Wet, more like douse the flour. Run it over my hands. Why is everybody staring? I'm aware that I'm making a mess. This is a mess. It looks lumpy and rigid. I go sit back down and wait for the food. I have failed at the Hispanic exam. I am like my tortilla, a failure. Something that wet hands and flour cannot fix. See, I'm not fully Salvadoreña. I'm black and Basque, too. And while my name is as Hispanic as you can get it, Reina Privado, Queen Private,
I don't speak a lick of it. In fact, I've often mistaken for everything but it. I can roll my tongue just like the rest of them, but apparently I'm not good at bachata, nor do I want to watch soccer all day. The only real Hispanic music I listen to is Selena, but even that is a rarity. Can you blame me for loving cornbread and black men more than pupusas and Migos? So forgive me for my lack of identification when I've been miseducated. Left unacquainted with El Salvador and my wet-back daddy who I blame for this tragedy, but it's painful. I want to speak to my abuelita before she dies. Tell her about her granddaughter. I want to ask her about my family. Ask her about Kelepa. Ask her about my daddy and how he got to be so brick wall and stone statue silent. I want to tell her I remember the day he left. I was 5, and I stood in the doorway of the bedroom and said, Daddy, where are you going? To no reply. From then on, I knew I'd be all my mother's daughter as I watched my Salvadorian inheritance drive away with a hussy in a red car, Tia Ada, Sandra, and some unknown auntie huddle over a bowl of flour. I've been invited to join them many times in this ceremony, but I am reminded of my likeness to my tortilla. A failure, something that wet hands and flour cannot fix. Thank you.
Group peace.
Every year for Halloween, I wanted to be a pumpkin,
sunflower,
M&M, turtle.
But when you get older,
the costumes tend to get smaller, finessing curves into eye candy instead of masterpiece.
American Beauty turned apple pie cutie.
So this year, I decided to be a
school teacher,
nurse,
fairy,
Wonder Woman.
But when I went to buy the costume, I was like, where's the rest of it?
Is B for books or boobs?
Was the tooth fairy a stripper?
To check temperatures or raise them?
Oh, hell no. Heels?
Halloween has become a different type of freak show. And all that I am don't fit prettily into polyester and spandex. I'd much rather be a
Sasquatch,
Godzilla,
King Kong,
Loch Ness,
goblin, ghoul, a zombie with no conscience. Everybody knows I'm a mother of a monster.
This skirt is even shorter than the kindergarten kids I'm teaching.
This is only gonna fit my thigh.
My mama would kill me for walking out the house like this.
Hospital floors are far too slippery for these heels.
This is tight. Society is trying to squeeze the fantasy out of us.
Turn our feminine fatal.
So this year, I think I'll be a monster.
Let me be Mummy, empty of all organs so they'd never fail me. Only my heart would remain the center of intelligence and emotion.
But I never need to feel another pair of greedy eyes on me.
Monster.
I'd much rather be vampire, my reflection disappearing every time I look in the mirror so I wouldn't have to worry about flaws that stare blankly back at me.
I will suck every woman's stereotype out of your throat.
Monster.
I've heard that some of the most beautiful women
are the craziest ones.
On a bad day, I'm human. On a full moon, werewolf, that I exist when the lunar ticks, ticking till the time comes when I'm finally comfortable in my own skin. Monster.
Let me be your worst nightmare for one night.
I'll shed away my wings and Betsy Johnson's and I'll play boogeyman, See, I know what you're afraid of. A woman who can do bad.
No, evil.
All by herself. But nowadays, boogeyman is a lot less frightening than a strong woman monster.
But
no matter what garments we wrap ourselves in,
a woman's status as trick, treat, or geek is not up for discussion.
A woman dressing, acting, being should be
her choice.
If a woman wants to wear a skimpy outfit, let it be
Her choice. If a woman wants to be covered up, let it be her choice. If I want to be a mother of a monster, then let it be my choice.
Is B for books or boobs?
Both. To check temperatures or raise them?
both. Was the Tooth Fairy a stripper?
Maybe, but who cares?
Oh, hell no. Heels?
But you seen them new pumps, though.
They job cute, though.
This is tight. I'd much rather be woman.
And if it means I must be a monster, then happy Halloween.
All right, everybody. This is the 2013 DC Youth Slam. But before we leave, Brother Thomas has something he wants to say.
Yo, it's my little brother's 8th birthday. Can we say happy birthday to my little brother real quick? Happy birthday, Gianni!
Happy birthday, darling. Hey, little brother, come up here.
Ready? Oh, are we singing happy birthday? Are we singing? Yes. You want to let him get down?
As we have to sing him happy birthday real quick. Come up, little brother. I also want to bring up the other coaches and mentors of the DCU Slam team. Give them some love. We're doing another show August 3rd. This Saturday at the African Art Museum on the Mall, a free show. It's part of their community day, the Smithsonian National African Art Museum, noon to 4 p.m. this Saturday, August 3rd. It's going to be lots of fun. Please come check us out. We'll be performing there. Where's the little man? Y'all, Aisha's going to start us off with this happy birthday.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Yes. Thank you for coming out to rock with us. Before you leave, definitely check out the merchandise that we have outside. We got what you need. We got shirts. We got all other types of stuff that you need to go out and buy and support. Thank you for coming out. One love.